Welcome. Before we dive into the fascinating history of one of New York's most iconic buildings, tell me where you're watching from and make sure to subscribe, because a lot of work went into uncovering the true stories behind the Dakota. From its luxurious apartments to the mysteries and scandals that unfolded within its walls. This is the full story of a building that has captured the imagination of the world. The Dakota, rising majestically on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, began its story in the early 1880s, a time when New York City was transforming into a metropolis of grandeur and ambition. The idea for the building came from Edward Clark, the wealthy heir to the Singer sewing machine fortune, who envisioned a residential space unlike anything the city had seen. At the time, New Yorkers of wealth were accustomed to townhouses and row houses, but Clark wanted something larger, more imposing, a structure that would offer not just homes, but a statement of sophistication and exclusivity. He commissioned the architectural firm of Henry Janeway Hardenbergh, who would later gain fame for designing the Plaza Hotel, to bring this vision to life. Hardenbergh's design was ambitious. The Dakota would be a fortress of luxury, combining French Renaissance, Gothic, and Victorian architectural elements, standing out even among Manhattan's grandest buildings. Construction began in 1880 on a plot of land at 1 West 72nd Street, a location that was then considered remote and even dangerous. The Upper West Side was largely undeveloped, with farms and low-rise buildings dominating the landscape. Locals reportedly nicknamed the future site Clark's Folly, doubting that anyone would want to live so far from the bustling heart of the city. Yet Clark and Hardenbergh were undeterred. The plan was to build a massive, self-contained apartment complex, complete with high-end finishes, ornate facades, and modern amenities that would cater to the wealthiest families. The building itself was constructed using a steel frame, which was a revolutionary technique at the time, allowing for greater height and durability. The exterior featured a striking mix of Dakota sandstone, intricate carvings, and gabled roofs, giving it the appearance of a European castle transplanted into the streets of Manhattan. The design was not just about beauty, it was also about privacy and security. Residents would enter through grand, secured entrances, and the building included internal courtyards, balconies, and spacious apartments, ensuring both comfort and discretion. Each apartment was designed to be a complete residence, with multiple bedrooms, servants' quarters, and lavish parlors for entertaining, reflecting the social standards of the elite during the Gilded Age. From the outset, the construction of the Dakota was a monumental task. Skilled artisans were brought in from Europe to carve the intricate stonework and moldings, while the interiors were outfitted with oak paneling, stained glass, and ornate fireplaces. Electric lighting was installed throughout, still a rarity in most homes at the time, along with modern plumbing, central heating, and elevators, which were considered luxurious innovations. Clark spared no expense, wanting the building to exemplify the height of technological advancement, while simultaneously maintaining an air of timeless elegance. Despite the high costs, the vision was compelling. Clark and Hardenbergh's meticulous attention to detail ensured that the Dakota was not merely a collection of apartments, but a symbol of prestige and status. From the beginning, the building was intended to attract the city's most affluent families, offering a lifestyle that combined privacy, comfort, and architectural grandeur in a way no townhouse or private residence could. The Dakota's unusual shape, designed with two large wings surrounding a central courtyard, allowed for maximum light and air circulation in every apartment. Another feature that highlighted the forward-thinking nature of the project. When the building was completed in 1884, it immediately became a marvel. Newspapers of the time described it as a palace for the people of New York who can afford it, praising both its design and its scale. Its location, once criticized as remote, quickly became desirable as the Upper West Side began to develop into a fashionable district. The Dakota wasn't just an apartment building, it was a statement about how New Yorkers of wealth and influence lived, a vision of luxury, self-sufficiency, and status elevated by architectural genius. Ultimately, the first keynote of the Dakota's story is its construction and architectural significance. Representing a bold departure from traditional urban housing, its creation combined innovation, artistry, and foresight, establishing a new standard for residential living in Manhattan. From the use of steel framing and modern amenities to the intricate details of its exterior and interior design, the Dakota was a building designed to impress, protect, and endure, a fortress of style and comfort that would go on to become one of the most famous and storied addresses in New York City history. The original vision of the Dakota went far beyond simply creating an apartment building. Edward Clark wanted to redefine the concept of urban living for the city's elite. In the late 19th century, New York's wealthy typically lived in expansive townhouses or private mansions, often spread across multiple floors with separate quarters for family and servants. Clark imagined something radically different, a building that could house multiple families under one roof, while still maintaining the same level of luxury, privacy, and status that a private mansion offered. To achieve this, he worked closely with Henry Janeway Hardenbergh to create a structure that would be both imposing and intimate, offering every convenience and comfort a high society family could desire. The Dakota's original vision was grounded in a combination of practicality and grandeur. Each apartment was conceived as a fully self-contained home, complete with formal parlors, dining rooms, kitchens, servants' quarters, multiple bedrooms, and even private elevators. The building's layout was carefully planned around a central courtyard that provided natural light and air circulation to every unit, a design choice that was revolutionary for its time. This focus on light and ventilation was not just an aesthetic preference. It reflected a growing awareness in urban architecture of the importance of health and well-being for city dwellers, long before such ideas became mainstream. Clark's vision also emphasized exclusivity. The Dakota was designed to attract the most prominent families in New York, and the building's entrances, security measures, and private corridors ensured that residents could live in comfort without being exposed to the hustle and bustle of city life outside. Each apartment was customizable, allowing residents to choose finishes, furnishings, and layouts that reflected their social status and personal taste. From gilded moldings to stained glass windows, the interiors were intended to rival the finest private homes in Europe, combining artistry with functionality in a way that was unprecedented in Manhattan. Beyond individual apartments, Clark envisioned the Dakota as a self-contained community. Residents would have access to shared spaces such as the central courtyard, where children could play safely and families could socialize away from the streets. These communal areas were designed to foster a sense of exclusivity and prestige, creating an environment where residents not only lived together, but also subtly competed and displayed their wealth and refinement. The Dakota's design encouraged social interaction among the upper echelons of society, while maintaining the privacy and discretion expected by the elite. Technological innovation was another cornerstone of the original vision. Clark insisted on incorporating the most advanced features available at the time, including elevators, central heating, gas and electric lighting, and modern plumbing systems. These innovations ensured that the Dakota was not just beautiful, but also cutting-edge, offering residents conveniences that most other buildings in New York lacked. The attention to detail extended to safety features as well. The building's thick walls, reinforced structures, and controlled access points made it one of the most secure and durable residences in the city. The architectural style itself reflected Clark's ambition to create a building that would stand the test of time. Hardenberg blended Gothic, Renaissance, and Victorian elements to produce a structure that was both ornate and formidable. Turrets, gables, and intricate stonework gave the Dakota a castle-like presence, while large windows, balconies, and terraces softened the overall effect, making it inviting yet authoritative. This stylistic combination reinforced the message that the Dakota was meant to be a landmark, a residence that would symbolize wealth, taste, and social power for generations to come. From the moment construction began in 1880, the building's vision captured public imagination, despite initial skepticism. Many thought the location was too remote, the design too grandiose, or the concept too ambitious to succeed. Locals even referred to it as Clark's Folly, mocking the audacity of placing such a monumental building in an underdeveloped part of the Upper West Side. Yet the vision persisted, and by the time the Dakota opened in 1884, it had transformed the neighborhood into a desirable enclave for the elite, proving that Clark's foresight and Hardenberg's architectural genius had achieved something extraordinary. Ultimately, the original vision of the Dakota was about more than luxury. It was about redefining urban living. Clark and Hardenberg created a building that offered the space, comfort, and prestige of a private mansion while accommodating multiple families, all within a single, secure, and visually stunning structure. This innovative approach set a new standard for residential architecture in Manhattan and established the Dakota as a symbol of wealth, sophistication, and forward-thinking design, a legacy that continues to define the building's reputation as New York's most famous address. The Dakota's fame and allure were amplified by the many notable residents who called it home over the decades, cementing its reputation as New York's most prestigious address. From the very beginning, Edward Clark and Henry Janeway Hardenberg had intended the building to attract the city's elite, and their vision succeeded spectacularly. As soon as the Dakota opened in 1884, it became a magnet for wealthy families, prominent socialites, and influential figures from business, politics, and the arts. The apartments were designed for the kind of residents who demanded discretion, comfort, and luxury, and the Dakota provided all of that and more, establishing a standard of residential exclusivity that had never been seen in Manhattan before. Among its early residents were members of some of New York's most affluent and influential families. They were drawn not only to the opulent apartments and state of the art amenities, but also to the sense of security and privacy that the building afforded. The Dakota's self-contained design, complete with elevators, private corridors, and internal courtyards, allowed wealthy families to live among one another while remaining shielded from the busy streets and prying eyes of the city. This combination of convenience, luxury, and discretion made it an irresistible address for those who wished to maintain both their social standing and their personal privacy. Over time, the Dakota's list of residents became increasingly illustrious. Artists, musicians, and actors were among those who moved in, drawn by the building's artistic design, spacious apartments, and the opportunity to live among other creative minds. Among the most famous of all was John Lennon of the Beatles, who moved in with Yoko Ono in the 1970s. Their presence not only heightened the building's global recognition, but also added a layer of cultural significance, turning the Dakota into a pilgrimage site for fans and historians alike. The tragic murder of Lennon outside the building in 1980 further cemented the Dakota's place in history, intertwining the building with an event that shocked the entire world and contributed to its legendary status. The Dakota also attracted a range of other famous figures in literature, film, and business. Writers and playwrights were drawn to its secluded charm, finding inspiration in the building's architectural beauty and its storied halls. Business magnates appreciated the security and prestige it offered, allowing them to entertain influential guests without leaving the comfort of their home. This eclectic mix of residents helped establish the Dakota as more than just a building. It became a microcosm of New York's elite society, a place where power, creativity, and influence intersected under one roof. The building's reputation was enhanced by the fact that its residents often remained for decades, creating long-term communities within its walls. Families who moved in during the early 20th century often stayed through multiple generations, passing down their apartments and cultivating a sense of continuity and tradition. This longevity of residency contributed to the Dakota's aura of exclusivity and mystique, as outsiders rarely had access to the inner workings of the building or its inhabitants. The long-term presence of prominent figures helped maintain its reputation as a symbol of wealth, status, and refined living. Equally important to the Dakota's fame was the fact that its residents often became part of New York's social and cultural narratives. Gala events, lavish parties, and gatherings in the Dakota's grand apartments drew attention from the press and society pages, further embedding the building in the public imagination. The stories of the residents, their successes, scandals, and artistic contributions became intertwined with the building itself, creating a rich tapestry of history and legend. This interconnection between the Dakota and its residents ensured that the building would be remembered not just for its architecture, but for the remarkable people who inhabited it. The Dakota's allure was also tied to its ability to maintain privacy in an increasingly public city. While newspapers and later media sources were fascinated by the building's residents, the Dakota's design, with its internal courtyards, controlled entrances, and thick walls, allowed its occupants to live with a rare degree of discretion. This balance of visibility and privacy made it even more desirable for those in positions of power and influence. Residents could enjoy the benefits of a central Manhattan location without sacrificing personal space or security, a combination that was unmatched in any other residential building at the time. In addition to famous figures, The Dakota also housed a mix of lesser, known yet influential individuals whose contributions to society, business, and the arts quietly shaped New York's development. These residents, though not in the public spotlight, reinforced the building's reputation as a haven for excellence, creativity, and refinement. Their presence underscored the Dakota's role as a residence for those who desired both prestige and the opportunity to live among like-minded peers in an environment that nurtured social and cultural influence. Ultimately, the Dakota's most famous residents played a crucial role in establishing the building's iconic status. Their lives, achievements, and sometimes tragedies became inseparable from the history of the building itself. By attracting a combination of socialites, artists, business leaders, and cultural icons, the Dakota transcended its role as a residential structure to become a symbol of Manhattan's elite, a testament to the vision of Edward Clark and Henry Janeway Hardenbergh, and a living chronicle of the city's evolving cultural landscape. Through its residents, the Dakota became not just a building, but a legend, one that continues to fascinate and inspire people around the world. The Dakota's reputation as New York City's most famous address was not built solely on its architecture or its illustrious residents. It was also shaped by the notorious events and scandals that unfolded within its walls over the decades. From the moment the building opened in 1884, its grand and imposing presence attracted attention, and with attention came intrigue, gossip, and occasionally tragedy. The combination of wealthy, powerful, and sometimes eccentric residents created an environment ripe for stories that captured the public imagination, blending luxury with a sense of mystery that has persisted into modern times. Early on, the Dakota became known for its social exclusivity, hosting extravagant gatherings and formal soirees that were attended by New York's elite. These events often made headlines in society pages, and rumors frequently accompanied them. Disputes between neighbors over etiquette, inheritance, and social rivalries became fodder for gossip, and the building's thick walls and private courtyards, while providing security and discretion, also created an environment where secrets could fester. Over time, these private dramas became part of the Dakota's lore, giving the building a reputation not only as a luxurious home, but as a place where scandal and intrigue quietly thrived. One of the most infamous incidents associated with the Dakota was, of course, the murder of John Lennon in 1980. Lennon, a former Beatle, lived in the Dakota with his wife, Yoko Ono, and his assassination outside the building shocked the world. The tragedy not only made international headlines, but also forever linked the Dakota to a high-profile crime that underscored the vulnerabilities even within its fortified walls. Lennon's death added a layer of darkness to the building's reputation, reinforcing the sense that the Dakota, while elegant and prestigious, could not remain untouched by the harsh realities of life and the unpredictability of human behavior. Beyond Lennon, the Dakota has seen numerous lesser-known scandals and mysterious events over the years. Residents have been involved in legal disputes, financial scandals, and social controversies that drew attention not just to the individuals, but to the building itself. Stories of arguments between wealthy neighbors, strange accidents, and unexplained occurrences circulated through the city, often exaggerated in newspaper reports and later retold in books and documentaries about the building. These tales contributed to a mythology surrounding the Dakota, where every event, no matter how minor, seemed to carry an air of drama and significance. The building's unique layout also played a role in amplifying its scandals. With its internal courtyards, multiple entrances, and complex floor plans, the Dakota allowed for a high degree of privacy, which residents both valued and exploited. This privacy sometimes led to tensions among neighbors, as disputes over noise, renovations, or shared spaces could escalate without oversight. Additionally, the presence of live-in staff and servants created dynamics that were often invisible to outsiders, but could generate rumors and suspicion when conflicts arose. These factors combined to create an environment in which the building itself seemed to harbor secrets, enhancing its mystique. Some of the Dakota's scandals also involved celebrity residents beyond Lennon. Actors, musicians, and artists who lived in the building frequently attracted attention from the press, and any unusual behavior or event became a topic of speculation. Parties that stretched late into the night, disagreements over apartment modifications, or even mysterious comings and goings were noted by neighbors and eventually circulated in society columns. Over time, these stories reinforced the Dakota's reputation as a place where wealth, fame, and eccentricity intersected, creating a rich tapestry of narratives that extended beyond the architectural walls. Even legal and financial controversies contributed to the building's storied history. Over the years, disputes over ownership, rent control, and inheritance brought lawsuits that often drew public scrutiny. Some residents resisted changes to the building's historic features, while others attempted renovations that sparked disagreements with neighbors. These conflicts, while mundane in a technical sense, were magnified by the building's fame and the high social standing of its residents, turning ordinary legal matters into headline-worthy scandals. Adding to the intrigue are the stories of mysterious occurrences within the Dakota. Rumors of strange noises, sightings of unexplained figures, and whispers of ghostly presences have circulated for decades. Whether based in truth or fueled by imagination, these stories contributed to the Dakota's reputation as more than just a luxury residence. It became a place where the line between reality and legend often blurred. Visitors and residents alike would sometimes report inexplicable events, lending an eerie dimension to the building's already dramatic history. The combination of social scandals, high-profile tragedies, and mysterious events transformed the Dakota into a symbol of New York's complex social fabric. It was not just a home, but a microcosm of wealth, fame, and influence, where every event, from lavish parties to personal disputes, resonated beyond its walls. Over time, these stories became inseparable from the building itself, creating a narrative that continues to captivate historians, journalists, and the general public. Ultimately, the Dakota's notorious events and scandals are a key part of what makes it legendary. They illustrate that while the building was designed for elegance, privacy, and refinement, it also became a stage for human drama in all its forms: ambition, rivalry, creativity, tragedy, and mystery. These stories, combined with its architectural grandeur and famous residents, have ensured that the Dakota remains one of New York City's most famous and intriguing addresses, a place where history, myth, and human drama coexist in a uniquely compelling way. The Dakota's reputation for mysterious deaths and unexplained occurrences has long added an air of intrigue to its already legendary status. Over the decades, residents and visitors alike have reported incidents that defy logical explanation, from sudden illnesses to fatal accidents, all shrouded in rumor and speculation. While many of these events have been sensationalized in the media, the sheer number and consistency of the reports have contributed to the building's eerie mystique. Even the most rational observers often find themselves questioning whether the Dakota's walls hold more than just the lives of its residents. Perhaps, some believe, they hold echoes of something beyond the natural world. One of the earliest accounts of unexplained death in the Dakota involved residents who passed away under unusual circumstances within the first decade of the building's completion. Newspapers of the era hinted at sudden illnesses striking otherwise healthy individuals, accidents occurring within private apartments, and unexplained fires or structural hazards that seemed to affect only certain areas of the building. Though some of these events could be explained by coincidence, the frequency with which they were reported gave rise to a sense of unease among both residents and the surrounding community. People began to whisper that the Dakota, despite its grandeur, had a strange way of influencing those who lived there. As time went on, more peculiar deaths and occurrences were recorded, often involving prominent residents whose passing made headlines across the city. These incidents ranged from tragic accidents, falls down staircases, kitchen fires, or collapses during home repairs, to sudden, unexplained illnesses that claimed the lives of individuals in the prime of life. The Dakota's unique design, with its complex internal courtyards, hidden stairways, and labyrinthine corridors, was sometimes cited as a possible explanation for accidents. Yet it also contributed to the perception that the building had its own mysterious influence. Residents reported hearing unexplained sounds in empty hallways, seeing fleeting shadows, or sensing a presence that could not be accounted for. The most infamous event associated with mysterious death, of course, was the assassination of John Lennon in 1980, outside the Dakota. While the crime occurred on the street, the building itself was forever linked to the tragedy, as it was not only Lennon's home, but also the site of countless memories, interactions, and moments leading up to that fateful day. The high-profile nature of this death cemented the Dakota's association with both fame and mortality, reinforcing the idea that those connected to the building often experienced events that were extraordinary, sometimes tragic, and occasionally inexplicable. Other residents over the years have described a range of odd experiences that, while not resulting in death, added to the sense of the building being a place where unusual events occurred. People reported items moving without explanation, doors opening or closing on their own, lights flickering even when there was no electrical fault, and the persistent feeling of being watched. Some even claimed that certain apartments carried a heavier energy than others, and that prolonged stays in these units could coincide with misfortune or ill health. While skeptics dismiss such claims as superstition or anecdotal exaggeration, the consistency and frequency of reports over more than a century have kept these stories alive in public imagination. The Dakota's residents, particularly those from earlier generations, often responded to these occurrences with a mix of rationality and caution. Some took practical steps, hiring additional staff, installing safety features, or moving to other apartments within the building, while others incorporated the building's reputation into their personal narratives, viewing it as both a prestigious and potentially perilous place to live. This duality, The Dakota as a symbol of luxury and status, but also as a site of danger and mystery, has contributed to its lasting mystique. Even in modern times, the Dakota's association with unexplained phenomena continues to attract attention. Paranormal investigators, historians, and curious visitors have examined the building, documenting stories of strange sounds, apparitions, and other unverified events. While no empirical evidence proves supernatural activity, the layering of historical tragedies, high-profile deaths, and residents' first-hand accounts creates an atmosphere in which the building seems almost alive, a silent witness to both human triumph and human misfortune. It is also worth noting that the Dakota's location and structure may amplify the perception of mystery. Its imposing facade, Gothic turrets, and secluded courtyards create an architectural presence that feels imposing and even slightly foreboding. This, combined with the building's storied past, makes it a natural setting for rumors and ghost stories to flourish. Residents and visitors often project the building's history onto unexplained events, reinforcing the notion that it is a place where death and mystery are intertwined. Ultimately, the Dakota's unexplained deaths and mysterious occurrences contribute to its enduring legend. They provide a narrative of the building as a living entity, one that both shelters and tests its inhabitants, a place where history and human experience converge in ways that are often unpredictable and, at times, tragic. These stories have made the Dakota more than just a prestigious address. They have turned it into a symbol of the fine line between luxury and danger, beauty and darkness, life and the unknown. Over the decades, this interplay between elegance and enigma has ensured that the Dakota remains a central figure in New York City's cultural and historical imagination. The Dakota's role in popular culture has been as significant as its architectural grandeur and storied history, making it a symbol that extends far beyond the streets of Manhattan. From its earliest days, the building captured the imagination of the public and became a frequent subject of newspaper stories, society pages, and later, books and documentaries. Its distinctive Gothic-inspired design, with turrets, gables, and a commanding presence, made it instantly recognizable, lending itself naturally to portrayals in literature, photography, and film. The Dakota's image came to represent not just luxury and prestige, but a sense of mystery and intrigue, a quality that has made it a compelling backdrop for storytelling across multiple forms of media. One of the most notable ways the Dakota entered popular culture was through literature. Writers have long been fascinated by its imposing architecture and enigmatic aura. The building's reputation as a residence for New York's elite, combined with rumors of tragedies and unexplained occurrences, provided fertile ground for fiction. Novels and short stories set in or inspired by the Dakota often explore themes of wealth, ambition, secrecy, and even the supernatural, portraying the building as a character in its own right, a silent witness to the triumphs and failures of those who live within it. Its combination of real, life history and architectural drama allows storytellers to weave narratives that blur the line between reality and legend. Film and television have also played a key role in cementing the Dakota's cultural significance. Its exterior has appeared in numerous productions, where its instantly recognizable facade conveys a sense of elegance, sophistication, and sometimes foreboding. Perhaps the most famous example is Roman Polanski's 1968 film Rosemary's Baby, which was shot on location at the Dakota. In the film, The building becomes almost a character itself, embodying both charm and menace, and reinforcing its association with mystery and the unexplained. The movie helped solidify the Dakota's status as a cultural icon, demonstrating how the building's unique atmosphere could enhance the storytelling experience and captivate audiences around the world. Music has further contributed to the Dakota's place in popular imagination. John Lennon's residence there, alongside Yoko Ono, turned the building into a site of pilgrimage for Beatles fans and music enthusiasts worldwide. The tragic events surrounding Lennon's death outside the Dakota in 1980 added another layer of cultural resonance, linking the building not only to celebrity, but also to collective memory and mourning. The Dakota thus became a symbol of both achievement and vulnerability, a landmark intertwined with the personal lives and public narratives of some of the most influential figures of the 20th century. Photography and visual art have also highlighted the Dakota's prominence in popular culture. Photographers have long been drawn to its distinctive facade, using it as a subject for architectural studies or as a backdrop for portraits and artistic compositions. Its imposing design and historical significance make it an enduring muse, inspiring countless depictions that emphasize its grandeur, elegance, and the air of mystery that surrounds it. Visual representations of the Dakota often emphasize contrasts, light and shadow, openness and enclosure, reflecting the duality of its beauty and its reputation for secrecy and intrigue. Beyond these specific mediums, the Dakota has influenced fashion, design, and lifestyle imagery. Its apartments, interiors, and architectural details have been featured in magazines and media outlets as exemplars of sophistication, historic preservation, and urban luxury. The building's cultural impact extends to real estate as well. Its name alone carries prestige, shaping perceptions of the Upper West Side and the kind of lifestyle associated with residing in such a landmark. Even as decades pass, the Dakota continues to inspire new generations of artists, writers, and filmmakers. Its historical significance, combined with its association with both real-life drama and creative storytelling, ensures that it remains a relevant and compelling symbol in contemporary culture. It has become a shorthand for elegance, history, and the interplay between wealth and secrecy, appearing in narratives that seek to explore the complexities of human experience in an urban context. In many ways, the Dakota's role in popular culture reflects its dual nature, both a residence for the elite and a stage for intrigue. It is celebrated for its architectural achievements and social significance, while simultaneously maintaining an aura of mystery and legend. This combination of tangible luxury and intangible mystique makes it an endlessly fascinating subject, allowing it to occupy a unique space in the collective imagination. Ultimately, the Dakota's presence in popular culture has ensured that it is not merely a building, but a symbol, a cultural touchstone representing both New York's architectural ambition and its layered, sometimes dark, human stories. Through literature, film, music, photography, and media portrayals, the Dakota transcends its physical form to become an icon, a place where history, art, and imagination intersect, creating a legacy that continues to captivate audiences and inspire creators across the globe. The Dakota's journey through time has not only been marked by its architectural and cultural significance, but also by a series of renovations, preservation efforts, and changes that have ensured the building's survival and enduring appeal. From its completion in 1884, The Dakota was designed with durability and grandeur in mind. Yet as the decades passed, the building faced the natural challenges of aging infrastructure, evolving building codes, and changing expectations of luxury living. Maintaining the Dakota required careful attention to both its historic character and the practical needs of modern residents, making preservation a delicate balancing act between honoring the past and accommodating the present. Early renovations in the first half of the 20th century focused primarily on updating the building's mechanical systems. Central heating, elevators, and plumbing required modernization to meet the standards expected by residents of the time. These upgrades were executed with care to ensure that they did not disrupt the building's ornate interiors or its iconic exterior. Craftsmen skilled in working with historical materials were often employed to repair stonework, restore moldings, and preserve the intricate woodwork that gave the Dakota its distinctive character. These early preservation efforts set a precedent for the meticulous care that would become a hallmark of the building's ongoing maintenance. In addition to internal upgrades, attention was also given to preserving the Dakota's external features. The building's facade, with its detailed sandstone carvings, turrets, and gables, required regular maintenance to prevent deterioration caused by weather, pollution, and natural aging. Over the years, specialists have carefully cleaned and repaired the stonework, ensuring that the Dakota's distinctive appearance remained as striking as it was when it first opened. The iconic roofline, with its steeply pitched gables and dormer windows, has also been a focus of preservation, as it is both a defining architectural feature and a practical element that protects the building from the elements. As the building became recognized as a historic landmark, preservation efforts expanded to include the interiors and shared spaces. The central courtyard, grand entrances, and ornate staircases are maintained with the same level of attention as the apartments themselves. Original features such as stained glass windows, wood paneling, and decorative fireplaces have been restored or replicated when necessary, preserving the sense of history and craftsmanship that defines the Dakota. This commitment to authenticity has allowed residents and visitors alike to experience the building much as it was in its early days, blending historic charm with modern convenience. Later renovations have also addressed the challenges of contemporary living. Modern electrical systems, HVAC installations, and updated plumbing are integrated discreetly, ensuring that residents benefit from modern comforts without compromising the building's historic integrity. Safety improvements, including fire suppression systems and security enhancements, have been added to meet current regulations, again reflecting a careful balance between preservation and practicality. These updates are essential for maintaining the Dakota's reputation as a safe, desirable residence while respecting its architectural and historical significance. Legal protections have further reinforced the building's preservation. Designation as a historic landmark has placed restrictions on alterations to the exterior, requiring any changes to be reviewed and approved by preservation authorities. This ensures that the building's unique architectural character is protected for future generations, preventing modifications that could undermine its historic or aesthetic value. At the same time, the cooperative ownership structure of the Dakota has allowed residents to participate in decisions regarding maintenance and restoration, creating a collaborative environment where the preservation of the building is a shared responsibility. Preservation efforts have also extended to the Dakota's reputation and legacy. Efforts to document its history, celebrate its famous residents, and share its stories through books, documentaries, and media coverage have reinforced the building's iconic status. These initiatives not only attract new residents and visitors, but also cultivate an appreciation for the Dakota's cultural and architectural significance. By highlighting the building's history and the meticulous care involved in maintaining it, these efforts contribute to a broader understanding of its place in New York City's urban narrative. In recent decades, high-profile restoration projects have drawn attention to the Dakota's continued relevance. These projects have often involved collaborations between architects, historians, and preservation specialists to ensure that every detail, from exterior stonework to interior woodwork, meets the highest standards of authenticity and quality. Modern techniques are used alongside traditional craftsmanship, allowing the building to retain its historical character while benefiting from advancements in construction and restoration technology. Ultimately, the Dakota's renovations and preservation efforts reflect a commitment to maintaining a balance between history and modernity. The building's continued appeal relies on careful stewardship, thoughtful updates, and respect for its architectural heritage. Through decades of maintenance, restoration, and protective measures, the Dakota has not only survived but thrived, remaining a symbol of elegance, sophistication, and historical significance in Manhattan. These ongoing efforts ensure that the Dakota continues to captivate residents, visitors, and historians alike, standing as a testament to the enduring vision of Edward Clark and the architectural genius of Henry Janeway Hardenbergh. The Dakota has long been the setting for rivalries, feuds, and secrets among its residents, and these interpersonal dramas have played a major role in building its mystique. From the very beginning, the building attracted some of New York's wealthiest and most influential families, whose lives were often marked by ambition, competition, and a desire for social prominence. In such a concentrated community of power and prestige, tensions were inevitable. Unlike traditional townhouses or suburban estates, the Dakota's apartment-style living placed influential families in close proximity, fostering interactions that could be both collaborative and contentious. The architecture itself, with shared corridors, courtyards, and limited entrances, sometimes intensified these dynamics, creating both opportunities for social connection and potential for conflict. One of the most common sources of rivalry in the Dakota involved disputes over apartments, renovations, and privacy. Some residents, seeking to expand their space or modernize interiors, occasionally clashed with neighbors over noise, construction impacts, or alterations that might affect shared walls or sightlines. Even minor disagreements could escalate, fueled by the personalities and social ambitions of those involved. These conflicts were often discreetly handled, but occasionally they became public knowledge, further feeding the building's reputation for intrigue. Stories of long-standing disputes and tense standoffs circulated among staff and visitors, adding layers to the Dakota's image as a place where personal ambitions and rivalries were played out behind elegant facades. Secrets, both personal and professional, have also contributed to the Dakota's legendary status. The building's residents included prominent artists, musicians, businesspeople, and socialites, many of whom led highly public lives while seeking private refuge within its walls. Apartments offered a sanctuary where they could entertain select guests, conduct business negotiations, or simply retreat from the public eye. But with so many influential figures in close quarters, information and gossip often circulated quietly, and residents had to navigate both trust and suspicion. The Dakota became a microcosm of social maneuvering, where reputations were carefully curated and secrets could be both protective and dangerous. The presence of high-profile celebrities, particularly in the 20th century, heightened the intensity of these rivalries and the intrigue surrounding the building. When John Lennon and Yoko Ono moved into the Dakota, their fame brought unprecedented attention. While many residents welcomed their presence, others were reportedly uncomfortable with the increased media scrutiny and constant attention. This tension highlighted the delicate balance between privacy and notoriety that has always characterized the Dakota. Even without public scandals, the simple act of living among individuals with overlapping ambitions, lifestyles, and social expectations created a climate ripe for rivalry and hidden tensions. Feuds and conflicts were not limited to disputes between residents. They also involved building management, staff, and service providers. Concerns over maintenance, renovations, and access to communal areas sometimes sparked disagreements that required careful negotiation. Staff members, who had intimate knowledge of residents' habits and schedules, occasionally became intermediaries in disputes or were privy to secrets that reinforced the Dakota's reputation as a building where private matters were closely guarded and sometimes contested. These internal dynamics added another layer to the social complexity of the building, making life in the Dakota both prestigious and challenging. Historical accounts suggest that some rivalries extended across generations, as long-term residents passed apartments down to heirs or sublet units, creating intricate webs of relationship dynamics. Stories of inherited grudges, unresolved disputes, and subtle power plays contributed to the building's aura of secrecy and intrigue. Even residents who sought a quiet life could not entirely escape the undercurrents of competition and tension, reinforcing the idea that the Dakota was more than a residence. It was a social ecosystem where every interaction had potential consequences. In addition to interpersonal conflicts, the Dakota has been home to hidden romances, clandestine meetings, and discreet negotiations that added to its aura of secrecy. Celebrities and social elites often used the building as a safe space for private encounters away from prying eyes, blending personal and professional life in a manner that was both strategic and necessary. These hidden aspects of life in the Dakota have become part of the building's lore, creating a sense that, behind its stately facade, countless untold stories unfolded that shaped the course of residents' lives, and, by extension, the building's legendary status. The building's architectural design reinforced these social dynamics. Its courtyards, private entrances, and expansive interior corridors allowed residents to navigate the space discreetly, while simultaneously fostering proximity that could lead to conflict or collaboration. Shared walls and communal spaces, while providing a sense of community, also heightened tensions when disagreements arose over noise, renovations, or the behavior of neighbors. In essence, the Dakota's very design facilitated both the creation of social bonds and the emergence of rivalries, making it a living laboratory for human behavior among New York's elite. Ultimately, the Dakota's stories of rivalries, feuds, and secrets are inseparable from its identity as an iconic New York landmark. They illustrate the human drama that unfolded within its walls, showing that the building's allure extends beyond its architectural beauty and famous residents. The tensions, ambitions, and clandestine actions of those who lived there have contributed to the Dakota's mystique, transforming it from a mere residence into a symbol of power, intrigue, and the delicate interplay between privacy and social visibility. These hidden dynamics, intertwined with history and legend, ensure that the Dakota remains one of Manhattan's most fascinating and enigmatic addresses. The Dakota's enduring allure and mystique are a product not only of its architectural beauty and famous residents, but also of the legends, stories, and cultural significance that have accumulated over more than a century. From the moment it opened its doors in 1884, the building captivated the imagination of the public, blending luxury, exclusivity, and mystery in a way few other addresses in New York City could. Its presence on the Upper West Side transformed the neighborhood, making it desirable for the wealthy and influential, while its imposing Gothic-inspired facade and ornate detailing inspired awe and curiosity in anyone who passed by. Over time, the Dakota became more than just a residence. It became a symbol of status, ambition, and the often hidden drama of life among the elite. Part of the Dakota's lasting allure comes from its combination of historical significance and cultural resonance. Its reputation was built on housing some of the most prominent figures in society, from financiers and socialites to artists, writers, and musicians. Each of these residents added a layer of narrative to the building's history, whether through achievements, scandals, or personal tragedies. The presence of John Lennon and Yoko Ono in the 1970s, and the world-shocking events surrounding Lennon's assassination in 1980, amplified the building's notoriety on a global scale. Yet, even beyond these high-profile moments, the Dakota remained a setting for countless private stories that added depth and intrigue, reinforcing its image as a place where extraordinary lives intersected in remarkable ways. The mystique of the Dakota is also fueled by the unexplained and mysterious events that have been reported over the years. Residents and visitors have recounted eerie sounds, fleeting shadows, and other strange occurrences that contribute to the building's reputation as more than a mere living space. While some of these stories are anecdotal or the result of imagination, their frequency and consistency over decades have made the Dakota a natural focal point for tales of the uncanny. These accounts, coupled with the building's dramatic architecture, have created a sense that the Dakota itself is almost alive, a silent witness to human history, observing and perhaps even influencing the lives of those within its walls. Its architectural distinctiveness also plays a critical role in its allure. The Dakota's Gothic-inspired turrets, gables, and ornamental detailing give it a presence unlike any other residential building in Manhattan. Unlike the standardized apartment blocks that dominate the city, the Dakota's irregular facade, internal courtyards, and complex floor plans provide a sense of uniqueness and individuality. This architectural personality contributes to the sense that the building is not just a backdrop for life, but an active participant in the stories that unfold within it. Its style conveys both grandeur and a slightly foreboding aura, making it a perfect setting for drama, legend, and artistic inspiration. The Dakota's presence in popular culture has further cemented its mystique. Its appearances in literature, film, and media coverage have elevated it from a historical landmark to a cultural icon. Films like Rosemary's Baby use the building as a symbol of both elegance and menace, while news coverage and documentaries have explored its history, famous residents, and reported mysteries. Through these portrayals, the Dakota has become a shorthand for a complex blend of luxury, secrecy, and history, a place where reality and legend intertwine seamlessly. Community memory and folklore also sustain the Dakota's enduring mystique. Stories passed down among New Yorkers, from neighbors to tourists, have preserved the building's aura of intrigue. Rumors of feuds, clandestine romances, unexplained deaths, and mysterious happenings contribute to a collective narrative that makes the Dakota more than an address. It is a repository of human experience encompassing wealth, ambition, tragedy, and creativity. Each story, whether verified or legendary, adds a layer to the building's identity, making it perpetually fascinating to both residents and outsiders. Even the building's cooperative structure contributes to its allure. Residents participate in decisions about maintenance, preservation, and renovations, which fosters a sense of shared responsibility and exclusivity. This cooperative model ensures that life inside the Dakota is not just about individual luxury, but also about participating in the stewardship of a historic and culturally significant landmark. The careful management of the building and the limited access for outsiders reinforce the idea that the Dakota is both prestigious and somewhat secretive, increasing its appeal and mystique. Finally, the Dakota's enduring allure lies in its ability to bridge the past and the present. It is a living monument to New York's architectural ambition, Gilded Age society, and evolving cultural narrative. The stories of residents, the building's architectural grandeur, its appearances in media, and the legends that surround it all contribute to a sense of timelessness. It embodies both the city's history and its capacity for reinvention, remaining relevant as it continues to capture the imagination of new generations. Ultimately, the Dakota's enduring allure and mystique come from its unique combination of architecture, history, social significance, and legend. It is a place where luxury meets mystery, where fame and tragedy coexist, and where the ordinary and extraordinary intersect. Its legacy is not solely in its walls or design, but in the countless stories, real, rumored, and imagined, that continue to make it one of New York City's most fascinating and iconic addresses, captivating the public and inspiring curiosity, awe, and admiration for well over a century.